that Rod made his very first Australian film, King of the Coral Sea.
Mr. Merriman's got a very nice taste in dames.
The lad from Sydney's Lidcombe had started out in radio plays and had a talent for foreign accents, but he never expected it would take him to Hollywood.
I was going to become an actor in London, and Warner Brothers came to town with a remake of Treasure Island. It was called Long John Silver. You remember Robert Newton?
Yes.
With a funny eye and a Long John Silver with a peg leg. And so they couldn't find anybody to play Israel Hands, the mad, blind, 80-year-old horror who keeps chasing Jim Hawkins around the bloody island.
Does the sight of me eyes sicken you, boy? Is your little heart beating like...
So I put in white contact lenses, and they put a beard on me, the whole thing, and I played this 80-year-old horror. Ha-ha! Jim Hawkins, and I'm scrambling around the rocks, giving the worst performance you've ever seen in your life, but the Yanks loved it.
But I see everything.
And they said, why don't you bring the old man over to Hollywood, and we'll see if we can get him some kind of recognition. And that was it. They said, now he's 22 or something. And they said, we'll bring him anyway.
Enchanté, madame. Soyez le bienvenu.
Merci, monsieur.
In Hotel, he was getting his tongue around a French accent. But what his co-stars were taking notice of was that face, both pretty and pugnacious.
I was one of the first of the uglies because it was the thing. You know, these guys who became friends of mine later, like Rock Hudson, Tab Hunter, and these guys were very pretty fellas, you know. And that was the trend. And I was the first of the uglies to get lucky.
I don't think Jane Fonda and Elizabeth Taylor thought you were one of the uglies. That was smooth Aussie charm, wasn't it?
That's a lovely way to put it. I'll remember that. It was my smooth Aussie charm, mate, that got me there, yeah.
It was not looks, but sheer talent that landed Rod the starring role in the cinema classic The Birds. The great director Alfred Hitchcock knew how to get the most out of his performers, actors and animals.
How did he do that? How did he get that so many birds
The
to
story could
diminish
be
it?
told now. They were drunk. You know, it'd never be allowed these days.
The birds were
Whiskey
drunk.
and wheat, you know. That's why they were standing around looking so peaceful as I'm walking through them at the end. And of course the ravens, they'd put meat in the lens and they'd swoop into the lens, these bloody ravens. In scenes like that, they'd tie the seagulls on the little kids. Didn't care if the kids were terrified. They were absolutely terrified. These seagulls are flopping and pecking and carrying on because they're tied to their collars, you know. The poor little bastards are running like with these birds.
You couldn't do that now.
Couldn't do that now. They had all these seagulls, by now very angry. Well, all these mad birds, really pissed off at everybody, are waiting in there. And as I reach in, they go, "Nyah!" So I've got tetanus shots and everything going for me. These birds are eating my arm, and his guys say, "Lovely more, wait there, Rod. No, wait there, Rod." I said, "They're eating, wait a minute." All right, cut. You know, I'm bleeding and shredded.
As well as working with some of Hollywood's greatest directors, Rod Taylor also became firm friends with some of its biggest stars.
Get the woman.
You've got John Wayne on your wall over there.
Yeah, we fell in love like a couple of drunken sailors. It was just wonderful. The only thing I could never beat Wayne at was poker. And I'd try so hard, and I'd have to give him a check after almost every third game. I'd give him and he never cashed them.
Was John Wayne as warm as the legend?
He was a wonderful guy, a heart this big, with Nazi edges, you know, his politics. But he was a wonderful guy. He was one of my best friends, and I dearly miss him.
In films and on television, Rod became everybody's favourite action hero. He was the first swashbuckling Australian since Errol Flynn.
And they also expected me to be as tall and good-looking and dashing, which I wasn't. So that pissed me off to have to live up to that, too, you know.
Rod didn't need tips from Errol Flynn to win the hearts of some of Hollywood's greatest beauties. The woman who won his heart back in the 60s has been his wife of many years. Carol Kikamura was a young actress and dancer when Rod was Hollywood's most eligible bachelor. They were friends, but then went their separate directions for 20 years.
We had drifted apart, and you know, led different lives, and I'd had a marriage and everything, and she called me up and she said, I just saw you on television and you're fat. I said, get your ass over here and say that. And Carol came over, and we met, and we giggled, and we had a bottle of wine. And we played a game of snooker. And would you believe it, after all that time, we decided, no, you know, this is nice.
Rod Taylor is a rich and contented man. Since coming to Hollywood in 1954, he's been in constant demand for films, television shows and miniseries.
Time warp of the 50s.
He lives in Beverly Hills among equally rich and famous neighbours. The difference is, Rod Taylor still thinks of himself as the boy from Parramatta High. But sometimes here, even the legendary actors, the stars, have got lost in the legend, haven't they? They forget who they really are.
Absolutely, and they start believing too much, you know. I guess I was always a little bit scared that they'd find me out, so I kept my dignity as well as my humility.
And you've gone on working since that first
Plodded
year you
along
arrived.
like a bloody old cow, mate. Just plodded along, yeah.
You've never been out of work?
No, never. Really amazing.
In Welcome to Whoop Whoop, Daddy-O is larger than life. Then again, so is Rod Taylor. At 68, he can look back on a brilliant career. But clearly, there's a lot of life left in this Daddy-O.
How have you managed to go on working for almost half a century you've been in film?
Cheating and lying. Telling people I'm really American when I'm not, and all kinds of things.
Acting.
Acting, mate. I came with a track record, and I came with a background and a backlog of having learned my craft, and which a lot of young kids don't. They can come by on magnificent looks. You've got to back it up with something. And a lot of luck, and the fact that I genuinely love this industry. I've directed, I've produced, I've written, and I've acted, and I love the industry. And I guess people think, well, he's not a phony accent, but he's, you know.